This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. It's Thursday, June 30th, 2022. Let's talk about the news. From NPR News, the U.S. will offer nearly 300,000 doses of monkeypox vaccine in the coming weeks. Top U.S. health officials have laid out plans to distribute a monkeypox vaccine for U.S. citizens, initially making 56,000 doses available, with another 240,000 coming in short order. These same officials expect that about 1.6 million doses will be available in the U.S. by the end of the year. Monkeypox, which will eventually have a new name from the World Health Organization, but apparently not yet, and which is kind of like a less deadly smallpox, is spreading faster than anticipated globally, mostly through communities that aren't typically afflicted by it, which is triggering all kinds of alarm bells in the international medical community. Between June 1st and June 22nd, 3,413 lab-confirmed cases and 1 death were reported across 50 countries and territories, but the WHO decided not to label the disease a public health emergency of international concern just yet, though they've also said intense efforts will probably be required to keep it from becoming one, and that it's important to get folks in vulnerable groups vaccinated immediately, though it's also hard to pinpoint who might be vulnerable right now, as dedicated tracking efforts for this disease are almost non-existent. From Axios, Turkey lifts objection to Sweden and Finland's NATO membership. After weeks of questions as to whether Turkey's President Erdogan would hinder and perhaps even block Sweden and Finland's bid to join NATO, the 3 countries have signed a trilateral memorandum saying that Turkey would support their accession. Most analysts suspect Erdogan was angling for concessions from the West when he claimed he didn't support the accession of these Nordic countries into the alliance, of which Turkey is a part. And his stated primary issue was that they house Kurdish groups that the Turkish government considers to be terrorists. It's expected that Turkey will probably get some kind of geopolitical veto on how friendly NATO nations can be toward Kurdish groups in Syria in the coming months in exchange for Erdogan's support on this matter, and that the Turks might even get the American F-16 fighter jets they've wanted but been denied till this point. And from Space.com, NASA's tiny Capstone CubeSat launches on pioneering moon mission. A 55-pound CubeSat, meaning a small microwave-sized satellite, has successfully been launched into orbit aboard a spacecraft bus called Photon that, over the next few days, will slowly push the satellite out of Earth's orbit toward the moon. The goal of this project is to determine the efficacy of a theoretical orbit called the Near Rectilinear Halo Orbit, or NRHO, that should be highly stable and allow projects like the near-future Gateway Space Station to set up shop near the moon on the relative cheap and in a safe and consistent, if highly elliptical, fashion. The satellite, called Capstone, will spend at least 6 months in the NRHO to assess its properties, and that'll give NASA a better sense of how and whether they should use that orbit in the future. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com, and you can support this and other related projects, like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts, at understandery.com.